Question number 2. What does the word hadith literally mean? What does it mean? What is a hadith? Answer number 2. If we use it as a noun, it means a story, conversation, report, dialogue, etc. If it's used as a noun. If we use it as an adjective, then it means something that is new. So 2 different usages linguistically. هذا حديث جيد. This is a good story. حديث ماتع. An interesting, intriguing story. Using it as a noun. Or if we say هذا ثوب حديث. This is a new garment. Different meaning linguistically. Question number 3. What does the hadith mean, or what does hadith mean in Islam? What does it mean when we use it as Muslims? When we read it in Ibn Kathir, or we read it in a fatwa book, or we hear it in a class or a lecture, or we see it on an Islamic calendar. What does it mean? Answer number 3. A hadith is anything that is attributed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, regardless whether it is authentic or not. Anything that is attributed to the Messenger of Allah is called a hadith. So the Prophet, he said something, but it's not authentic legislatively, it's called a hadith, a weak hadith, a fabricated hadith. The Prophet said something and it is authentic, it is called a hadith. The Prophet said something, but the people misinterpreted or they misrepresented, it is also called a hadith. Anything that is attributed to Muhammad is called a hadith. It's called a hadith. So, the narration, it says, Hubbul watani min al-iman, or Hubbul watani min al-iman. Loving one's country is from faith. Is that authentic? Is that sound? Is that weak? What's important is, the moment that the speaker, or the writer, or the journalist, or the one who's doing the interview says, Muhammad said, the Prophet of Islam, he said, loving one's country is from faith. The moment they attribute it to Muhammad, it is automatically called a hadith. And it does not necessarily have to be authentic. Moving forward, a hadith is a statement, action, or something that he allowed his companions to do in his presence without speaking out against it. The Prophet said, the Prophet did, the Prophet allowed. All of these things fall under the general umbrella of the word hadith. A hadith can also entail any description of him, physical and or moral. The Prophet was tall, the Prophet was short, the Prophet was fair-skinned, the Prophet was dark-skinned, the Prophet, anything about his physical stature. And or something which is moral. The Prophet was brave, the Prophet was honest, the Prophet was shy, or was he other than that? Was he cowardly? Was he dishonest? Was he deceitful? Wal-iyadhu billah, may Allah protect him, that even being said about him. But the point is, anything that describes his moral character and description is called a hadith. It's called a what? It's called a hadith. The word hadith also includes any story or event that took place during his lifetime and even before he was made a prophet. Very comprehensive definition. If Ibn Abbas says that this verse was sent down and the Prophet was at Uhud or Badr, or the Prophet was at Hudaybiyah, then that's called hadith. If there's a tabi'i, Hasan al-Basri said that this verse came down about people who were claiming to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hasan al-Basri never met the Prophet. He met the companions. He wasn't alive during that time. But if he attributes it to the time of the Prophet, then it's automatically called a hadith. Everyone got the point? And inshallah, this definition alone can clear up a lot of problems for you. As a layman, watching the news, listening to an interview on BBC or CNN, knowing what is and what isn't a hadith. Alright? Question number 4. Can you please give some examples? The general theory isn't enough. Give us a real life tangible example of what is or what isn't a hadith. Answer 4, no problem, inshallah. An example of a statement that is attributed to the Prophet ﷺ is an example of his statement, the words that say, fear Allah and raise your izar. The Prophet told one of his companions, fear Allah and raise your izar. What does that mean? How high does the izar have to be? It's not on the table of discussion right now. What's important is it is a statement that we are saying that Muhammad made. To fear Allah and to lift one's izar. That is called a hadith. An example of an action that is attributed to him, the very first thing that the Prophet ﷺ used to do upon entering his home was to use toothstick, or the toothstick. Was to use the toothstick. When he went in his house, first thing he did was brush his teeth. That's an example of an action of the Prophet. An example of something that is attributed to the Prophet ﷺ, of him allowing the companions to do and or silently approving is permitting some of his companions to break their fast during the month of Ramadan whilst traveling without repudiating any of them. We're going to Mecca, we're going to this place, this village, this town, we're traveling, it's in Ramadan. You want to fast? Fast. You don't want to fast? You don't have to fast. It's not a statement of the Prophet, it's not an action of the Prophet, but it's something that he allowed, and he never criticized them. He didn't point to them saying you're wrong and you're correct. He allowed all of it. That's an example of a hadith. An example of the physical description that is attributed to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is that he was neither fair-skinned nor dark-skinned. Physical. What did the Prophet look like? He wasn't extremely fair-skinned, nor was he extremely dark-skinned. In the middle. An example of a moral description that is attributed to him is that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was extremely shy and bashful. We're not talking about his character, his physical stature, his actual insides, his character. He was shy and he was bashful, etc.